And I don't know much about him, but I just want to say this. This is one executive vice president that knows how to make you feel included. I think she can call me about 3 times to have dinner, and every time I'll go because she pays. So, but I'd like to introduce you all to the executive vice president, Murray K. Henry.
That the welcoming was, delaying the sort of nut of the issue, which was the economic crisis in the African American community. So I thought, hey, why don't we let him go? I'm happy to wait. So I appreciate it because I have this call at 5 o'clock that Marcelle's trying to manage in, and I appreciate you allowing me to interrupt this incredible presentation that he's in the midst of. Thank you so much for the work. And one of the things I wrote down that Professor Pitts just said is we are working people and the things that unite us are greater than the things that divide us. Isn't that? And that's basically the gratitude that I wanted to share with this group for the many relationships I have with people in this room that have taught me that lesson again and again, and that there's many names I could call about the gifts that each one of you have given me personally as a leader in SEIU for the past 29 years, about how learning about what makes us each different, but also reminding ourselves of what binds us together is the thing that makes our movement such a formidable force against that red line that is off the chart. And so I wanted to bring greetings, but mostly I wanted to bring my gratitude for you making that possible for me. And I've been touched by so many relationships that it's hard to do this, but I wanted to explain that in the past 2 months I've had the privilege of working in California with our members at United Healthcare Workers West, and I've been deeply touched by many relationships. I wanted that delegation to rise and to recognize Keisha Stewart, a deputy trustee, and Lisa Boone, a deputy trustee. And these workers have been supported by members of 6434, who I've also seen stand across the room from the United Long-Term Care Movement. And they have been an incredible blessing to me and a reminder of the difference that many leaders in our union have made to me, where I could tell stories on many of them who pulled me into a hallway and gotten right up in my face and said, now Mary Kay, you better go back in that room and let people know that this is the way it needs to be. And so I again want to thank each and every one of you for that. And then I don't know if Bill Pritchett is in the room, but I want to tell a story. Is he out there, Gwen, at the table? Oh, there he is. Okay, Bill, I didn't get permission from you to tell this story, but I think about 15 years ago, Bill and I had different roles in the union. And one of the things that I've learned about fighting racism in our union is that it means for me that I have to challenge myself and my white racism and the white racism of people that I've worked with in the labor movement and as we build the union. And this brother took my hand at a time when we were trying to challenge the organizing department about the role of people of color in our organizing department. And another brother, Amado David, Filipino, formed a People of Color caucus within our staff organizing department. And both he and Amado were identified public leaders, I would say, in that struggle, and came to me at the time and asked, if I would organize a White Allies letter of support inside the organizing department. And I was recently writing a letter of recommendation for a motto, and I thought about you and your courage during that time. And I did that. And I have to say it was one of the most incredible organizing lessons of my life, because it forced what Professor Pitts just said. It made me have to have very uncomfortable conversations inside my community about something that I assumed everybody cared about, which is a deep understanding that racism hurts all of us, and that unless we join together in the fight against it, there's no way to sort of change the tide. So what would happen every night after my one-on-ones that Pritch and Amato would assign to me about who it was I needed to get on this letter, because some people I knew well and some I didn't, I would call them and vent about what was hard about those conversations. And I had to sometimes say out loud to them, okay, I gotta remember white people are good. Because you know better than I do that we sometimes get very confused. Fair enough? When your heart's really big and generous, that's what you say, right? And so I had to battle against things that I never dreamt, frankly, in my lifetime that I would hear people say. And stand up and push against it. And so we got these signatures thanks to the support of Bill on the East, I think you were on the East Coast, maybe West Coast. West, and Amato. And baby, the fire was lit when that letter got published. Both the people of color letter and the white letters that moved. And I think Bill was called on the carpet first, is my recollection, because he called me right away and said, you're going to be called in soon, sister. Get ready. Batten down the hatches. And so I just tell that story as a way of sharing how much my life has been enriched and how grateful I am to you for being a part of making us all stronger and making our union better by insisting on what the right thing is to do for all of us. And thank you. And Bill made me think of Marshall. And I agree with what Anna said in shouting out to his leadership, Professor Pitts, what everyone has done, but I don't know how many of you have had a chance yet to read The Season of Change that he wrote in the program. But the thing I loved was his ending, because this is something that this man, I believe, is given as a gift to the whole union, and which is a key message in leadership development around the union, which is, I'm stepping down because I still do love AFRAM. I believe a person must be willing to lead during their season, but must also be willing to step aside as seasons change. And that this is the season for change. And so I just wanted to honor that in you, Marshall, because it is something that he lives. And it's the sort of key part of leadership development as we think forward and we think about the next generation of leadership and spotting the folks in this room that are younger that need a hand. And that we can make way for is sort of all of our obligation, I think, in terms of building our union's movement. And I just thought that those three things about taking risks, being willing to listen to each other and understand, and then challenging things that are difficult, have been key lessons that I've learned from lots of leaders in our union, but most particularly leaders of color in our union. And it has strengthened me as a woman leader, as a lesbian leader, and I wanted to express my gratitude to all of you for that. And then I also wanted to describe why I think it's key to our winning all of the things that Anna outlined in this incredibly ambitious agenda that our union has. which is there is no frickin' way in the next 4 months that we're going to win healthcare reform together if we don't practice these principles of leadership development as we create a mass movement of change in this country. And I just think AFRAM is a key vehicle to making that happen. So I want to thank you all very much.